Okay, we are live and ready to go. Good morning, everybody. I'm Franklin County Commissioner John O'Grady. I'm the president of the Board of Commissioners this year. And just a little bit over a month ago, on March 9th, we had our first case of coronavirus discovered here in Ohio. Today we have approaching 9,000 cases in Ohio now. And so while we are all on lockdown and spending a lot of time at home, a lot of time, hopefully we're all spending a lot of time at home, we should be anyway, working from home. And Jim, as you can see from the mission statement behind him, Jim is in the office today. He also has his mask around his neck. I'm with Jim Schimmer, our Economic Development Director, and Alex Beres, our Deputy Director of Economic Development today. But the outbreak of the coronavirus and its economic effects are hitting all of us really hard. Many people have lost their job. Some folks have lost their health insurance. And of course, we can't even get together and help out one another in person. We've been working on a lot of different programs to help provide some relief to Franklin County residents. However, these programs can't help if our residents don't know about them. So to that end, we have been trying to do all that we can to make sure we get the word out. I'm sure that this is not the only time that I will host one of these chats. I know that my colleague, Commissioner Kevin Boyce, will be doing some of them as well. The other day I was on with Job and Family Services Director Joy Bivens, talking about a lot of the programs that we are offering through social service programs that we are offering through Job and Family Services. We're going to do a program this morning talking about all the work that we are doing in economic development. So following us on social media and keeping aware of everything that's upcoming so that we can provide this information to you is a good thing. And we'll see what we can do to keep getting the word out. As I said earlier, today with me is Jim Schimmer, Franklin County's Director of Economic Development and Planning. And with him is, as well as our agency's Deputy Director, Alex Beres. Before we start, I want to let you know how you can participate. If you're watching this live, you can submit questions via Facebook. We'll try to answer some of them as we go along. Early next week, speaking of economic development, early next week, Tuesday afternoon, I'm going to have some local business owners on with me as well. We're going to bring on some local restaurateurs, friends of ours, friends of mine, and we're going to have a conversation with how their businesses are being impacted by the situation that we are all in. So let's get started with some questions. Director, Deputy Director, here's a couple of questions. First off, can you guys tell us a bit about what economic development and planning does and who they serve? Give us a little bit of background about the agency.
Well, Commissioner, actually, I've been with the agency since 2006, when the commissioners at that time decided to go ahead and consolidate economic development with community development in one agency. And since that time, we have been incredibly active in the community in what we do. We have a whole wide variety of different things that impact residents of Franklin County. And we began our days in Memorial Hall after it had just been renovated. But in 2009, we ended up moving to our current location, which is in the Lazarus building. That's at the corner of Town and Front, for everybody who knows that. And we are co-located with several of our community partners. One Columbus is located upstairs. The Chamber of Commerce is located in the building, and the partnership is also, the Downtown Development Corporation is located as well here. And so it's been a really good opportunity for us to make certain that we're visible in the community. I know a number of times I get the question, well, why is this somehow different than the city of Columbus? And how do you guys do your business, and why is it different? Well, For one thing, we're very focused in on the geographic area that we actually have ORC or Ohio Revised Code, a component that we are focused on is trying to make certain that we do the law as the ORC dictates to us. And so we have a number of different areas that we focus in on. Today's program is focused on the economic development piece, but we also have community development has been a big part of what we do. We do a number of different programs where we're allocating federal dollars back out to the community. Community Development Block Grant, CDBG is the acronym. Folks may know that. And so we're involved in that process. And that is, I'll maybe come back to this a little later, but that's a very, very critical part of how we're responding to this COVID crisis right now, is through our community development department and the work that they do. We also have a building and zoning and planning area. So we are involved in a number of activities, but I should go back to the geography specifically of where we're focused in on. We have unincorporated counties or areas, townships in the county that we're involved with. So for example, if you are a builder and you're seeking a commercial building permit, Franklin County directly and Franklin County EDP is going to work with the townships of Clinton, Franklin, Hamilton, Madison, Mifflin, Norwich, Pleasant, Sharon, and Truro townships, for example. In those areas, we're going to ask that homeowners and building contractors get, number one, zoning compliance when they're starting a project, and then number two, a building permit when they actually begin to do their construction. The county requires a building permit for any structures over 200 square feet. And that is, I guess I would suggest to you, just for your visual, is maybe larger than a shed, garden shed. So it's an important part of what we do, and it requires that you participate directly with Franklin County. There are other areas in the county where communities such as the village of Harrisburg and Lockbourne, Urban Crest, Valley View, for example, you're still required to get the permit to build, but you will go through their town halls or their township halls to be able to get those things. For example, communities like Grove Port and Obetz issue both the zoning compliance and the building permits. In doubt, you just call us at 614-525-3166 and we'll help you through that process. One thing I want to make sure, commissioners, that everybody listening on this broadcast understands is that we are involved in making certain that Franklin County residents are safe whenever they undergo a building project in their community or on their own home. I'm certain everybody wants to keep their family safe. The guy who thinks he can go to Lowe's and decide he's an electrician one weekend, maybe not such a great idea. It's really important to make certain that we really make certain that work is inspected well by professionals, and we go ahead and do that. The other thing that we're involved with is the economic development piece, and Mr. Beres has been leading that up in a way that we have never seen before. In terms of moving the ball forward and getting some projects done that we really need to. But in this time of the COVID crisis, man, I'm telling you what, we are right on call with the things that we have to do. There are a lot of people in need in a lot of different places. The business community obviously is one of those, small business, as well as people that need workforce training and need to get back into the market again, maybe after having been laid off. So Alex has been involved in a number of those different projects, but just to bring this full circle, Commissioner, we have a staff of 25, diverse both in age and gender, and we're very proud of that fact that we have individuals on this particular department who are absolutely committed to making certain that Franklin County is a better place going forward.
So real quickly, because I want to get Alex to jump in here, couple things. First of all, I want to give a shout out here joining us on this, paying attention to us, listening to us on Facebook right now is Westerville Chamber of Commerce. Janet Tressler Davis from the Westerville Chamber of Commerce is on. So I wanted to give her a shout out. Thank you for joining us, Janet. Appreciate you being with us. Alex, could you do us the favor of expounding a little bit on some of the economic development pieces, some of the things, but in particular, if you could, people will occasionally, I get this quite a bit, people will occasionally confuse what we do countywide and then the city of Columbus and what they do from an EDP or an economic development planning perspective. Can you talk about the difference between the county's economic development role and the city's economic development role? If you could elaborate, on that, differentiate between the two, and then once you do that, then we will start to maybe get into some of the things that we're doing as a department, some of the things that we've been doing here as we talk about COVID-19.
Sure, Commissioner. Thank you. Yeah, the main difference is that within the city of Columbus's municipal boundaries, what is, if your trash is picked up by the city of Columbus, they have their own, the city has a very good development department of their own that we are colleagues and partners with a lot of times on projects, both big and small, but they're going to be what we consider the boots on the ground for economic development. They're going to be in charge of incentives, loan programs, specifically for businesses inside of Franklin County. Now, what we do is that we partner with the city all the time. And as I said, on projects big and small. And so we'll come in on things and on some niche areas that our department does a really good job on, things that we've identified through, Commissioner, through your and your colleagues' leadership, as well as our strategic planning, is things that the county can do really well and make a difference. That, energy efficiency loans for one, or some workforce development tools that we can partner with the city on. But at the end of the day, the city is going to be the boots on the ground for economic development inside their municipal boundaries, and we just are there as a helpful partner. Where we really get involved is in the unincorporated areas, the townships, where we are the boots on the ground. We are the township trustees as well as the county's economic development department, and so we take a lot of pride in. There's a lot of great areas in the townships that people would have no idea are actually unincorporated township. You're driving through the city of, for example, there's certain arterial roads where you're driving and you're in the city of Columbus, or maybe you're in the city of Reynoldsburg, but you're also then on one side of the street in a township, or you're driving on Cleveland Avenue and you're going through both Clinton and Mifflin townships, where we play a role in the redevelopment there. So in those areas, we're going to be the boots on the ground. In the other areas for our municipal suburbs, including Westerville or Dublin or Whitehall, we're a partner, a big partner too, as well as the city of Columbus.
Well, but we also partner. See, each of the municipalities also has. It's not just Columbus. Arlington, Grandview, Bexley, Westerville, Worthington, Grove City, Canal Winchester, Dublin. Everybody's got their own economic development department and their own economic development initiatives. We partner with all of them, along with the city of Columbus, and we do deals with all of them. Yes. And we invest dollars in all of those areas. And so while we focus our efforts in terms of our economic development planning and our planning and zoning stuff in all of the unincorporated areas, we also partner with all of those other entities and do business and deals with all of those other entities. And then, I think when folks think of unincorporated areas, they think of, the cornfields out in, the casino was in unincorporated Franklin County, and right. A lot of the land around the casino, which we get all the time. We are heavily involved with Franklin Township and Prairie Township in working. That has been a puzzle that we've been working on for a long, long time. And slowly over time, we have seen a lot of fantastic work being done out there, and it's coming together piece by piece by piece. It's been a long, long, tough slog, but there's been a lot that's been going on. We can have that conversation. We could spend 3 hours talking about nothing but the far west side and the casino area and all the work that we've been doing out there. Work that still needs to be done. I don't want to get into that now. We can talk about that another time. But let's talk about this. So as soon as the shelter in place, stay at home stuff came down, we knew that businesses would be challenged and small businesses were going to have a hard time staying afloat. So we wanted to provide some help. You guys jumped into action immediately. We commonly refer to the aid that you guys put together as our quick strike plans. Jim and Alex, both, can you guys walk us through the 3 types of aids that we put into place for businesses during the outbreak? And if you guys could then elaborate on each one of those, the work that we're doing with the Workforce Development Board, work that we're doing with ECDI and the resiliency focus part, with the stuff with the Urban League. Can you walk us through those things, and then we can talk about those things?
Commissioner, our response as a county has been really dictated by the fact that this is going to be a process, a long-term process. And you're exactly right. And when this COVID first immediately hit, we had to react immediately because there were a lot of people that were in a lot of difficulty, especially in the business community. But also generally residents were losing their jobs. And so that first true concept of quick strike was the idea that this was one phase that we needed to absolutely get done right now, as fast as we could. You and the administration pushed this department to get some things done in a heroic fashion, I would say, in terms of timing, because we really had the hustle. There was no waiting around. People that don't have a job or a person that has had their doors closed in their business, they can't wait around, and government shouldn't wait around either. So we really were able to try and move forward on those specific things. We have focused in on the idea that small business owners needed some help with lending. So we have worked through that program. We understood that there were people out there in the community who really needed to try and find some training. So we did some workforce stuff. And then finally, one smaller item was a very specific targeted area that we have been looking at with the Urban League. And that is something that I think we want to focus more in time, our time and energy on as we move forward, but it's going to be a different scenario. So I'm going to just let Alex take you through what those 3 programs are and some of the details so that the listeners in the program, if they need some assistance, they know where to get it, and we're here for them. So Alex, why don't you go through that?
Yeah, and thanks, Jim. The one thing I want to preface is that sometimes all kinds of government, whether it be local, state, federal government, moves slowly, and people can be frustrated with that. One thing I want to kind of give a tip of the cap to is once we realized the full extent of this, and as the real nature of COVID-19 swept across the county, not only did the commissioners spur us into action, but our partners in the auditor's office, the prosecutor's office, the clerk, Dean, the county's clerk, a bunch of people came together and recognized that it was like these initiatives that I'm going to talk about right now need to get through quickly. So legislation that usually would take maybe a month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks of process, just purely process. And a lot of times that process is really good because as a transparent, democracy, we want to show what we're doing. We were able to do those exact same steps to ensure that these programs were soundly administered, sound contracts, deliberated by the commissioners, but in rapid fashion. And we couldn't do that without partners in a lot of our offices that and other elected officials' offices. So I want to first just say, in a time of crisis, people really do come together and see the need to, help us, help our residents.
Hey,
So,
Alex,
yes.
that just is very similar as a guy who grew up in Buffalo. A little old lady who would get their car stalled in an intersection in the middle of a snowstorm, 4 or 5 guys would be, or even women, would be behind there pushing that car out. That's exactly what happened in this situation. We got behind the car and pushed it out.
The part of that you're missing, Jim, is that after you push that car out, you went swimming out in the lake.
At least the way I tell it, Alex, that's the
Yeah, I
case.
know.
Yeah.
So anyway, so enough about that. But Commissioner, just real quickly, the quick strike funds, we first partnered with, and something that came out of our strategic plan, and just so people know that when you do a strategic plan, it doesn't sit on a shelf, is it really trained us and habited us of what's our niches at the county in economic development that we do really well. And when we need to in a time of crisis, we can rely on partners that we've already shown are really effective in the niche that we can play in. So the first one was the Economic and Community Development Institute, ECDI. I want to just preface this, and I'll say it a couple times, that development.franklincountyohio.gov, we have all this information there for everyone to see. We'll give some individual contacts for these programs, but once again, you can find all of this at development.franklincountyohio.gov. We keep things updated as things change. They get updated on our website. So the first program is microlending out of ECDI. This is something we've done, and Commissioner, you and Director Schimmer have been at the forefront for more than a dozen years in terms of capitalizing microlending for small businesses in Franklin County. What we did was we took that same program that we knew we were going to put. We were budgeting about $180,000 to go into microlending this year, and we boosted that up an additional $500,000 so that we leverage additional dollars, because what ECI does is our partner, and the reason why they're a good partner to us is something we couldn't do in-house, is that they leverage these dollars with SBA dollars, private bank dollars, foundation dollars. And so that $500,000 will leverage an additional $1.5 million for microlending in Franklin County right now. And I think Director Schimmer and I have been updated by ECDI. Steve Fireman is the main contact there, but those dollars are already being used and utilized. And that is still a loan. It's a traditional loan, but for smaller businesses in the range of, we're talking about $25,000, $50,000.
Yeah, that's enough money though that's enough money for a restaurant or for another small business to be able to make payroll, to be able to replace inventory, to be able to a lot of different things. These are folks that are trying to get from the 1st of April to the 1st of July during this crisis, to be able to help out their employees if that's what they're looking for, or to be able to replace inventory that got wasted because they had to shut down, or there's a multitude of different reasons. But I mean, if you think, I was in the restaurant business, I know what happens. I have friends in the restaurant, lots of friends in the restaurant business. Some of them are still open. Some of them are making more, making a lot of money right now. Some of them are making nothing, or
Right.
making very little. And the idea of going to ECDI, getting what they're referring to maybe as a bridge loan that gets them from the 1st of April at a decent rate, it gets them from the 1st of April to the 1st of July, the 1st of August, the 1st of September, so that they can make it through this. I have one friend that she said, look, I'm gonna close the doors. I don't want to deal with this right now. I don't want to deal with trying to serve folks. I don't want to try to deal with trying to deal with carry out orders and stuff like that during all this time. And so, she closed the doors, and she's not worried about the alcohol. She's not worried about the beer. She's not worried about all the other potential overhead. But she lost a bunch of money on food. She donated everything to the shelter. She sent her employees home with as much food as they could handle. But she lost a ton of money on food. She wants to recover those costs. She wants to be able to pay her rent while they're down. That's all she's concerned with. She doesn't need a big loan, but she needs a loan. Good.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of reminded of the fact that, and it just for our own thinking, St. Patrick's Day was one of those days that restaurants and bars, they had bought all that stuff. They had gotten their food. They were ready to go. And then bang, this hits.
Yep.
So, so Commissioner, the next kind of thing that we thought of right at that initial quick strike week, right at the week of things starting to shut down was, okay, so, we're trying to help on the front end. We know that we're not going to be the only people in the game, but we're going to do our part in the niche that we know that works. The other part of that is our longtime, work in workforce development. And one of our partners there, and a great partner, is the Workforce Development Board of Central Ohio, who's just working absolutely tirelessly, almost 24/7 right now, with the amount of unemployment claims coming in the county. But what we did there was we did another quick strike, which is called a skills boost. And all that is you get registered into the Workforce Development Board system if you've been recently unemployed. And as you're waiting for those unemployment dollars to come in and other aid to come in locally, you do just a couple online kind of truly just get your skills back up, know what's out there, get in the system. The Workforce Development Board is going to have a lot of leads on a lot of the jobs that are coming out right now, that are open right now that you can get, but they need to have identification, the ability to get a hold of these folks. So what you do is you go through this very kind of simple process, and over the course of 2 weeks, you take just a couple hours of online training, get up to date on what you're looking to do. If you're looking to just return to your employer, or if you're looking to seek different training or different employment, and you get a $250 stipend for just getting that first step in. And is that a lot of money? No, but it's a thing that you're going to wind up having to do anyways. If you're unemployed, you're going to need to go through these steps anyways. What we want to do is we want to accelerate that for you and give you a little extra dollar to get that process started. And so we're really fortunate once again. That is at the Workforce Development Board of Central Ohio. But I can't iterate enough that if you go to our webpage, development.franklincountyohio.gov, go to the very first slide that comes up. It's called Quick Strike Funds. You'll see all the information, the contact you need to go there as well.
And $250 for being online, getting some training, which you probably is going to be beneficial anyway. But $250, helps pay a bill, helps pick up some groceries, helps whatever. I mean, it's worthwhile. It's very worthwhile.
Commissioner, one thing that's really interesting about that is that, so much in our careers and in our time when we're at work in the past, we are always too busy to be thinking about how we're going to better our future. This is a perfect opportunity for folks to take a time out, look at things like their resume, look at and figure out, areas of interest that they have, and also how they can get their skill base bettered, because we will come out of this and there will be people that will be hiring, and you want to be in the best place possible. This is just one opportunity for us to be able to do and help folks to get to that point.
Hey, I want you to talk about the Urban League and some of the help for minority and women-owned businesses, but I want to, there's a couple things first, a couple housekeeping things here first. First, I want to point out that the Old Oaks Civic Association is with us and paying attention. So welcome to the Old Oaks Civic Association. Thank you for being on with us. And then I got a couple of questions here from some folks that are viewing. So what grants or loans are available for businesses through the county? We just talked about the ECDI grant and loan. Is there, and we're going to talk about the Urban League stuff here in a second. So is there anything else you guys want to mention, or are we covering with those two?
Commissioner, maybe the easiest way, again, just to repeat this, is have any individual who's interested in finding out the details go to development.franklincountyohio.gov.
Yeah, so that's right. So the viewer who asked that question, we talked about the ECDI stuff. We're going to talk about some work through that we're doing through the Urban League here. in a second. But the best thing is definitely go to development.franklincounty.ohio.gov. So that takes care of that one.
And just to be clear, Commissioner, I mean, those are loans through ECDI, and that is our main outlet to the small business community, is our partnership with ECDI and those loans.
That's correct. All right, we have another one here. What are the minimum requirements for businesses to receive assistance?
Yeah, so if you go on development.franklincounty.ohio.gov, you'll have, and I will also just pull up contact, but you'll see ECDI's, the information for Economic Community Development Institute, and then you'll also see a contact, and that's going to be Steve Fireman, main contact. And the number there is 614-402-2265, and sfireman@ecdi.org. Fireman, just as it's spelled, FIREMAN, at ecdi.org. They have specific underwriting standards that ECI does. Let me just say that one of the reasons we have continued to partner with ECDI, and it started in Columbus and now it's grown throughout the state because of kind of what really the county commissioners did to start to boost it up, is that they truly underwrite. They have real people underwriting the loan. And so this is not a credit score. This is not an algorithm that's just going to shoot you out. This is something that they understand COVID. They understand maybe tough medical bills from 5 years ago. That look into those things and work with you individually and with actual real people underwriting it. And so there's standards, obviously, for any business to get a loan, but these are this is not your typical bank algorithm that unfortunately sometimes keeps very good businesses and business owners out of getting a loan. This is real people in real time working with you hand in hand.
And Commissioner, the way we handled the next program that we have with the Columbus Urban League was a situation where we recognized that, as Alex was talking about, even in a simplest situation, sometimes financial matters can be the most difficult things. And to have an ombudsman, to have somebody who is in the community that you're in, who knows the community inside and out, and has the ability to understand and assess the needs that are going to be apparent as time goes on, and those businesses that make up a neighborhood or that are the core central focus of a Friday night in a neighborhood in the city. Those neighborhoods and those businesses really need to have somebody who has a special touch, somebody that understands how they work, understands how they fit into the community. And so we partnered with the Columbus Urban League going forward to sort of be that guide, if you will, for small businesses in the minority and women-owned community. There's a very specialized area, and I think the important thing is that when we work with our partners, we have a better outcome for those types of businesses in the long run. I don't know, Alex, do you have anything else you want to say about that?
Yeah, I would.
I was only going to say, President Hightower is fantastic. Her organization is tremendous. She does a great job. We are lucky to be partnered with her. We partner with the Columbus Urban League on so many other things throughout the community, throughout the rest. I mean, we have dozens and dozens of different contracts with them, work that we do with them, and so it was only a natural for us to partner with her and her organization in this particular way at this particular time. But they do fantastic work, and so this was a natural. Sorry, go ahead.
And Commissioner, the only thing I'd add on to that is that we know now, of course, we know right now that some of the SBA's programming is on hold because of appropriations being spent, but we also know that there will likely be an additional federal bill for more help, and we can get into that. But my point is that in all those conversations with the Small Business Administration, these areas, the state of Ohio's programs, there's a multitude of programs, and everyone goes, get in touch with your local banker or get in touch with your CPA, your finance people, and we all know, and Commissioner, you know this firsthand, that not every small business, so the majority of small businesses, they don't have their trusty banker, that's just waiting on the line, and they don't have a CPA. They're self-reliant. They're doing this stuff on their own. And so when they need to access some of these programs that have special applications, special other things, you need that technical assistance and that help that the Urban League is going to help us provide and partner, as well as, there's a multitude of other partners in the county that we work with as well, including Small Business Development Center, Central Ohio, and some other areas that you take that technical assistance and take that help because you want to do this right the first time. And we know how things get for our small business owners. They've succeeded and they've gone up this mountain on their own a lot, and they want to be self-reliant. And we know that, but take some technical assistance, take some help, and get ahead of the line on some of these things. And we really encourage that.
That is absolutely correct. So I'm going to remind everybody, development.franklincounty.ohio.gov, Steve Fireman at ECDI, S Fireman at ECDI.org. It will be, all of this stuff, by the way, is posted in the comments that are scrolling on Facebook. So if you go, viewers want to go back through that, our folks have posted all of those contact information. All of that stuff is posted there. You can just scroll back through that and you'll find all of that there. So you can go ahead and do that there. Jim, Director Schimmer, let's talk for a second. This will also preview early next week when I have some local restaurant owners on board. We are talk a little bit about the love local, tip local thing that we've been talking about.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that because, we have sat around, all of us, I guess, and Alex, myself, and you have all been asked the question of like, how can you help small business right now? It's, we've got to do something immediately. And it's obvious we have to do something immediately. And, one of the things that kind of came to me a little bit, but it only came to me because I saw it firsthand and being enacted. And I think it's just a really wonderful thing. And that is this idea that I think we would all say, and hopefully everybody on this broadcast today will say that they love local. They love local. They love what Columbus has, what it's about. And our concept is if you love local, the idea is to tip local. Oftentimes, we're busy or we don't even think about it, or that person that hands us our food is just somebody that, you're on to the next thing and you're not even paying attention to them. What I've seen in our community since this crisis has started is really sort of a different focus on things. And that focus has been on the attention to people. And so just taking a second out and saying, gosh darn it, I go to McDonald's all the time. I have never tipped anybody at McDonald's. Why in the world would I do that? Well, let me tell you why it's a good idea. Because once you, number one, you acknowledge that person and the work that they're doing for you, as well as for the community, and you're saying thank you. Secondly, that money that you give to that person hopefully goes into their pocket and then is spent locally as well. They spend money on groceries here locally. They spend, a variety of different things that could be going on. They may even tip other people that are in their field and industry. But the idea is that everybody can do it. It is not a difficult thing to do. Just think about it a little bit and think about how you can support somebody who is working for you in a way that maybe in the past you haven't. So if you love local, tip local.
So, I spent a number of years in the restaurant industry. My kids all know and understand that, they've grown up around me. I've always been a big tipper. But when you do that, it's kind of obnoxious actually. But you know what? These folks are these folks are trying to earn a living, right? And tips are important. But the nowadays, that industry is taking a huge hit. A lot of folks that were earning tips are no longer employed. And the folks that are still employed are needing tips worse than ever now. And so we've been trying to, and look, it's a rough world out there right now. Be honest with you, I don't leave the house much. I'm a high risk individual. While I am not yet 60 years old, I just turned 56 a couple of weeks ago. I'm a 2-time open heart surgery patient. So I am definitely high risk. My doctors don't like me leaving the house when I don't have to. I leave the house maybe a couple times a week max. Yesterday, I just went for a drive. I wasted a lot of gasoline yesterday. Drove around for about 4 hours. But I had some things I needed to take care of. I had to go to the courthouse, sign some documents. We did some business. I needed to sign some documents. I had a doctor's appointment. I had to go see my doctor, which is interesting because it was curbside. I drove right up to the doctor's office. They came out to me. I never got out of my car. But I also then was on the phone doing a lot of work yesterday on my phone. So I just kept driving while I was on my phone yesterday, just for mental health. And, it was a beautiful day and I got to drive around. But I don't get out of the house much. I don't, or at least don't leave my address. I get out of my house all the time. I'm out in the yard a lot. But we still try to do takeout a few times a week, just to support our friends in the business and our local folks here on this side of town as much as possible. I was on the phone with a good friend of mine who owns a restaurant all the way over in Whitehall, which is on the other side of town from me. But I promised her when I talked to her yesterday, she's going to be on the program with me on Tuesday. Winnie from Flavor 91 in Whitehall.
Absolutely, yeah, great.
Who, by the way, and I'm not afraid to say this, has what I believe to be probably the best chicken wings in Columbus. And when I tell my 16-year-old that I promised her that we're going to come get some soon, he will be in the car on his way to Whitehall like that.
Yeah.
But we do that. But the point is, whatever the bill is, I tell my kids, you got to leave a huge tip. You just got to leave a huge tip. It is important right now. And normally on a takeout order, you don't leave a tip or you don't leave much of a tip in normal times. Well, these are not normal. They just aren't normal times. You got to think about the people that are working in that restaurant that you're buying from, and the fact that they're not receiving tips. They wouldn't normally be receiving tips at this time, and that they're really struggling right now.
Commissioner.
I was just saying, these business owners are really feeling for their people. Most of them have scaled back staffs. They don't have the same number of employees that they would normally have. So I'm just telling you, love your local businesses, but tip your folks as well. Sorry.
No, Commissioner, well enough, you and Jim know that I'm fueled completely by caffeine and frequent multiple local coffee shops. I will argue that pound for pound, Columbus is the best craft coffee destination in the United States, and that is, people win awards here. Baristas win awards. Great places to meet. Absolutely. Cheers. Salute. One of the things that I know that because of Dr. Acton's orders and other things is they don't want us out a lot. And so if I can get to my favorite coffee shop that maybe I'd go to 5 times a week, I'm only going once, but I tip as if I've been there all 5 times. And I look at it and I go, this is for all the times, I get some beans to grind at home and I go, well, these are for all the times that I'm not coming in. And these are friends, these baristas are friends of mine. They're and I think all 3 of us have worked in service industry and been on those sides of the aisle and know that know that recognition that you're a friend, that you value their craft. It's the dollars go a long way, but also it's the community spirit that's still there, that knows that, hey, Alex might not be coming in every day, but he still views it as his, go-to spot. So I love this idea, and the tip local thing is just a magnificent way to kind of summarize it.
Well, so for those of you that are watching us on Facebook, not only please tip, but spread the word. Spread the word. We need to support our local restaurateurs and small businesses, but we also need to tip. And it's not just on food service. There's other services out there where you can continue to tip. So we have we're running short on time. We got about a little bit under 15 minutes left in our show this morning, or our presentation this morning. We have a whole host of things that we can talk about. One of the things I want to mention, by the way, is the OSU Extension Office. OSU Extension is a fantastic partner of ours. They weren't something that we necessarily we're going to talk about today, but they are on with us. So we want to mention them, number one. Number two, we might want to chat about it in a second. Alex, just got a question here. People want to know about your coffee spots. This is New Grounds Coffee in Hilliard. My daughter has been frequenting it recently, since a lot of the Starbucks in town aren't open right these days. But New Grounds Coffee in Hilliard has become one of my favorites. What's that?
If I'm over
New Grounds Coffee has a drive-through.
Yes.
But Alex, folks want to know about your coffee places. So
so I'll go real quick because this could become a 3-hour conversation, Commissioner, and you guys would both be asleep. But a couple of really great places where absolutely some of the best baristas still work. The owners are great baristas. Is One Line Coffee, both in the Short North, now in Franklinton, also across the street from the State House. Cafe Brioso, still running out of their Long Street location. Cafe Brioso, as people know, is kind of the grandfather of the godfather of all the other great coffee places. Mission Coffee, just down the street from where I live, is they are working out of their annex out of 4th Street. And one of the things I'll just say about these places is that their ability to transition in a time of crisis, to keep their doors open, but really to try to take care of as many of their employees as they can. It's just amazing. And it's still amazing that you can get great coffee in this town, even in this crisis, to keep us going during these long hours that we're all working. But I'll say this is that it's, and this is kind of getting on a stump, but don't only blame yourself if the local place that you frequent doesn't survive this crisis. It's it's in your power. It's in our power to continue to support these places. Because I want to be able to sit and meet with folks on a economic development deal at Cafe Brioso on Long Street in a couple months, and I don't want there to be anything. Maybe I'm wearing a mask, but I don't want there to be much different in terms of, I want the same folks serving and the same folks listening to the crazy music they have in the background, and let's get back to it.
And I want to add.
I was going to say, I was speaking of which, Alex, did you get yourself a Cleveland Browns mask yet?
I had to wait for the new unis to come through to make sure I was like right colors.
Attaboy. That's all right. That's, as long as you get one, that's all that matters.
Or maybe I'll have my mom make one out of the old color schemes. So
I just want to make sure that I mention Colin Gowell, Colin's Coffee Shop up on Riverside Drive. Is another great place, and Colin has been in this business for a long time. A good friend and very hard worker. Yeah,
right around the corner from my house. He's a good guy, and that's a good business.
Yeah,
let's hope he does well. He's good people. So look, there's a whole bunch of stuff here to talk about. We are definitely running short on time. So the Franklin County has invested $10 million in a short amount of time. We've really dumped a lot of money into this COVID-19 issue. $5 million of that went to setting up the overflow surge hospital at the Franklin County Convention Center. That is a facility that we hope to never have to use. By the way, we should mention that is each of the hospitals, and I'm going to, excuse me, each of the hospitals is, once I do that, it's probably going to happen like 5 more times.
I understand.
My dog really badly wants on Facebook Live. Apparently, she's just bugging me to death right now. But we really hope that we never have to open the surge hospital. Each of the hospital, the adult hospital systems, OSU, Ohio Health, and Mount Carmel is a partner with us there. Each of those hospitals has a couple hundred beds that are dedicated to this situation. But if we have to open the surge hospital, it's because those are overflow. Something's going on in my house right now. Everybody's running around a little crazy. It's because those beds at the hospitals have become have filled up, and so that's the situation that we have with the convention center. So we are. That's where we are. And the surge is expected Sunday, Monday, to be upon us Sunday, Monday, this coming week. So we shall see how this goes. The surge hospital also is not simply for the residents of Franklin County, although we are the ones who gladly and proudly are the ones who invested the dollars, and hopefully will be reimbursed by the federal government for those dollars. We expect that we will have folks from multiple counties that are going to end up coming to that facility if necessary, if that's what happens. Because that's who we are and that's what we're all about. But that's $5 million of the $10 million that we invested. We've invested dollars in these programs that we've talked about this morning, $500,000 with ECDI, $500,000 with the Workforce Development Board of Central Ohio, $250,000 with the United Way of Central Ohio, another $250,000 with the Office on Aging for Senior Options programs. I mean, we've invested a lot of money, and so do you guys want to expound on any of that kind of stuff that we've done and why we've done it, or any of the stuff that we've left out here?
Commissioner, let me just, I'll make one point too, is that, one of the things is that all of the commissioners have taught us as either a director or as a staff person that one of the most important things we can do in a situation like this is to truly take care of our residents. Every resident, every day is not just some sort of cute phrase. It is a belief that your employees and the employees of Franklin County believe in and believe every day. And I think it's starting to show. There's just absolutely no doubt about it. Our commitment to things has been tremendous. But without your leadership and your fellow commissioners' leadership, Commissioner Boyce and Commissioner Brown, you provide a lot of energy for us as staff. And I just want to publicly thank you for that. But also just mention the fact that one of the biggest things that you've given to all of us is this idea and concept that we have an obligation to take care of our fellow citizens. And we're going to go ahead and do that.
Well, our motto in Franklin County is every resident, every day. We didn't come up with that because it sounded good. We didn't come up with it because, it was, some BS line that, we thought would win us an award. It is, it is who we are. It is at the end of the day, at the end of the road. And oh, by the way, it's not just about Marilyn Brown and Kevin Boyce and John Brady. You guys drive us. As I say in general session, probably you guys are there all the time, probably half a dozen times a year. You guys make us look good. We have a fantastic staff. It's not real easy to make this look good. you guys make us look good all the time. We have a tremendous staff at Franklin County, and the work that you guys do is second to none. We are recognized throughout the state. We are not just recognized throughout the state, we are recognized throughout the country as a leader, as one of the best counties in the country, as one of the four forward-thinking counties in the country, as one of the best run and best managed counties in the country. There's 3,069 counties in the United States. We are in the top 2% of the best financially managed counties in the country. We are in the top, in my mind, in the top 1% of the counties that are constantly being recognized for being forward-thinking, for putting forth the best programs, both in economic development and planning, in the Department of Job and Family Services. I mean, we get awards and recognitions every summer at our annual conference. It is, we're constantly being asked by the department or by the National Association of Counties to showcase our programs to the rest of the counties at our meetings, and it's because of the hard work of you guys. So I appreciate you guys, telling us that we push you, but you guys push us as well. So hey, the folks that are out there paying attention to this on Facebook Live, we mentioned earlier this love local, tip local, and to support your local businesses. We mentioned, I could rattle off a laundry list of the restaurants that are some of my favorites in town and owned by a lot of my friends. I would love it if we would love it. And Alex just listed a handful of coffee shops here in town. We would love it if folks that are paying attention on Facebook Live would start listing off some of their favorites. If you want folks that are paying attention on Facebook Live to frequent some of your favorite places, go ahead and list those restaurants on the Facebook Live feed, and give them a shout out, and maybe we can drum up some business for them on there. The other thing I'd like to do is there's a Facebook page. It's called Pizza. I think it's called Pizza Connoisseurs of Columbus. And if you haven't checked it out, go there. It is all about all the best pizza in Columbus. And if you don't think there's some killer pizza in Columbus, one, you're crazy. Give a little shout out to my friends on the west side at Emilio's Pizza over on Georgesville Road over near the casino. I grew up, by the way, I know this doesn't look like Body by Pizza, but you're crazy. I grew up with some of the best pizza places in town. I grew up with the Sabato family that owns Emilio's Pizza. I grew up with the Rotolo family that owns Rotolo's in Grandview. I grew up with the Lombardi family that owns Panzera's. The Apollonio family that owns Enrico's up in Dublin. Who else? The Corova family that owned Corova's on the west side, but still owns TAT on the east side. I grew up with so many. Well, my homeroom was either all Italian or all Irish. Everybody in my homeroom, and a lot of the Italian families all owned restaurants. So, shout out to all my Italian friends that owned pizza places growing up. But Emilio's on the far west side, over near the casino, is still one of everybody's favorites. I sent Commissioner Boyce there. I think he sent Grubhub to pick up some Emilio's just last week and said it was fantastic. So he frequents Panzera's in Grandview because it's not too far from his apartment. He wanted to try something new.
Hey, rumor has it, Commissioner, you're getting people really hungry talking about all these places.
Yeah, come have a meeting in my office sometime. It happens a lot. So, and what else, guys? What else are we forgetting about? Anything else you want to?
Commissioner, I would just say, just to reassure the residents too, that, we talked about a lot of the quick strike emergency type legislation that we're working on, but just want everyone to know that we are diligently continuing to work on our day-to-day services in the office, but also a lot of additional initiatives that we're going to be new this year and still are like our affordable housing program. So by the end of the month, we'll have launched a couple of our main flagship affordable housing programs. Something, Commissioner, that you'll be really happy with and involved in is our launch of our local food portal for food businesses. That's not necessarily in response to COVID. It's just in response to the fact of how much, that's a niche of ours in the county due to your leadership, Commissioner. So we're doing a lot of the work when we get to the second or third phase, as the governor talks about this crisis, we won't be starting anew. We're just going to be continuing to plow forward on initiatives that you guys set out for us. And so we've been working, absolutely. I know the director can back me up. All of our staff have been working harder than they've ever worked in this time. And it's to not only do these new things, but to continue to focus on, what we're here to do in the rest of the year.
And I would just add, final comment is the future is going to be about opportunity. This crisis has changed things, and we have the opportunity forward ahead of us to really do some things differently than they've ever been done before. And I hope that everybody will certainly stay positive as we move forward in time. Economic development and planning at Franklin County is here to help you. If you need our assistance, please, we're only a call away. One more time, go to development.franklincounty.gov, and we'll be just a click away from your assistance.
So we got to wrap it up now. What are some of the long-term ideas of things that are in the works that will resume after COVID is over?
Commissioner, one simple thing, I'll make it really super quick. Before COVID, we were working really, really hard and diligently on the future of Rickenbacker, international global logistics hub. We did an inside the fence planning effort and an outside the fence planning effort. The idea that it is a regional asset, and therefore, as a result of that, we have done some really strong work to position ourselves after COVID-19 begins to move forward and starts to abate a little bit. Goods and services are going to be in demand and in needs. I will predict that Rickenbacker will see a resurgence in its air cargo traffic as well as its ground traffic. But the good news is we're ready for it, and we just need to promote it now. That'll be one item I'll just point out to you.
That's fantastic. That's great news. Good stuff. All right. So the biggest takeaway from all of this is, well, two big takeaways from all of this. Franklin County, I apologize. Two big takeaways. Development.franklincountyohio.gov. If you have any questions about anything we talked about today, development.franklincountyohio.gov. You should also 614-525-3166. Or should go to 3100.
No, 3166 will be a good number.
3166, 614-525-3166, development.franklincountyohio.gov if you have any questions after today. And love local, tip local. Keep putting those restaurants on the Facebook page and support your local places. All right, everybody. Tuesday afternoon, 3:30, going to have some local restaurant owners on here, 3:30 Tuesday afternoon. Have a great weekend and take care. Be safe, everybody. Stay healthy.
Thanks so much for having us.